how we might address specific problems within a family. Are you there? Session 5. Who has the influence? Peers versus parents. What do teenagers actually talk about when they're alone? We all like to know that, I think. Where do they go for help when it comes to making decisions? Do they go to their parents? Do they go to their friends? Who else might they go to for help? And the aim of that is to help parents to understand that as their children get older, they won't go to them for everything like they do when they're young. And actually that's okay. There is a change in the relationship between parents and children as they get older. But part of that is if you've built strong, healthy networks for your child and yourself outside of the family, then that should remove some of the worry for a parent about where your child is going to for support and help. And so, for example, if you are friends with the parents of your children's friends, and you can talk to them and you can communicate with them regularly, then you know you will understand more about what's going on in their life. You can share information. If there's a worry, you can phone them and they may know something that can help you. So it's about whole networks really of you, your friends, your children's friends and their parents, and just being aware of their world and communicating with one another. And then there's a very, also in session 5, there's the most technical part of the course when it comes to illegal substances, and we ask an outside speaker to come in and actually talk to us about the different drugs, their effects, and they will bring in a drugs box. That is a similar talk to a talk that's often given to children at school, and it really just is an awareness talk of what's going on, what they might get hold of and the effect it might have on them. Okay, session 6, the last session that we hold with the parents, and as part of session 6, if all the parents on the course are in agreement, we would invite their children to come to that session. So we'd make it a family session, and the reason we do that is partly so that the children can see that actually when mum and dad have been going off, it's been hopefully beneficial to them. Partly it's part of this strengthening family relationships, because in session 6 we talk about family customs and traditions. What as a family do they do that's a family tradition? For example, how do they celebrate birthdays? Do they have a regular family DVD and pizza night together? And if not, can they start something? Can they look at setting up a family custom that they can do to build stronger, positive family relationships? The reason we do this is because these sorts of things give children and young people a real sense of belonging. Family customs are important to them because they then feel like they belong in the family. And one of the reasons that young people will go off and drink alcohol and experiment with drugs is because they don't feel like they belong, and they want to belong to something. And so if their friends are experimenting with alcohol and drugs and they're there and they're involved, they feel like they belong to a group and they want to belong. Young people really want to belong to something. So belonging, feeling like they belong to a good family, to a strong family where there are good customs and traditions, is really important in the battle against them going off and doing something silly. So that session is really about affirming children and encouraging them to be the best that they can be. Because all of these things weaken the pressure and the messages that they get from their peers and from the media to do something and to be something that they're not. So that's hopefully a really good, the last session should be a really good positive session, and it ends with food and a social time as well.
What's the uptake of young people coming to that? Because I can't imagine many 14-year-olds wanting to hang out with 8-year-olds.
The experience from Care for the Family is very good. They're very good response.
Across the board, the age range?
I haven't asked them to break it down, but they did say that it is
very really interesting to...
Yeah.
Very surprised.
Yeah.
If you've got, I would imagine you'd get quite a lot of the younger ones turn up.
Yeah. Fair
Because they're
enough.
still at the age where if the parent says we're going, they're going. A
Yeah.
14-year-old, I really don't think so, Mum.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering.
Yeah, no, that would be interesting. I could ask that
Mm.
question of Care for Family if they know.
Because it might be
what
that,
that is.
They could tailor it to have, perhaps the younger ones coming at the beginning of the session, and then the session, and then
Yeah.
perhaps the older ones coming later on when actually the younger ones have disappeared, because there
Yeah.
is.
Point taken. Or put a DVD on in another room for the older ones and or something. Yeah.
Whatever, just recognising the difference between, that's a massive age jump between 8 and 14.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So that's a very quick romp through what the course contains. Very, very quick because it's normally 6 2-hour sessions. As I said, what we want you to do is to feel confident in recommending this course in whatever professional setting that you're in. And we had a really good buzz this afternoon. We had some PFSAs come along, and they all said they had families they felt that they could recommend would come and do this course. And we had a guy from the council as well who is putting us in touch with the Troubled Families programme.
I was going to say that's the only thing I would really want to comment on, is the fact that the majority of parents who will come and access a course like this are the ones who already have supportive roles and supportive networks, and because they take the responsibility of being a parent and etc. The ones who really would benefit are the ones who are on the sidelines of society who actually forget it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you approach those, or
Well, really, it's going to be
family
through
centres
PFSAs and things like the Troubled Families programme. If they can refer just 1 or 2 families, that's a start.
And again, the stigma of those type of families coming into a setting where there are really well-spoken, functioning families, is going to put them off. And it may be that you need to think about setting specific groups for that type of clientele. Because anything that breaks down those barriers.
Which is one of the reasons why we're looking at the moment. Our first course that we're running is in Highbridge at Churchfield School, but it will be really good to run one fairly soon in Burnham as well, because you're going to get different types of families coming to those different courses. So yeah, we have got somebody else who's about to start training with Care for Family. So hopefully we'll be able to run a couple of courses fairly close together.
Okay. I don't think the title, How to Drug Proof Your Kids, actually tells you anything about this wonderful course.
It doesn't, and it's very canny, because if you say to a lot of parents, particularly those from troubled families, go on a parenting course, they will say, well, why do I need to learn how to be a parent? I don't need to learn how to be a parent. You can't tell me how to be a parent.
Absolutely.
But if you say to them, go on this course, How to Drug Proof Your Kids, they'll say, oh, actually, and then they come and we say, a parenting course. So I think it's quite canny, because Care for Family do, as you know, parenting courses, positive parenting courses, and they're called things like Time Out for Parents of Teenagers and that sort of thing, which isn't bad, but it's obvious it's a parenting course. This, as I say, a lot of people are not going to realise that this is a comprehensive parenting course until they come on it.
Well, I mean, in a way, all the more wonderful if it doesn't. I think it's great if you can learn things without actually realising that you're learning them.
Possibly, yes.
I suppose the only negative would be if they didn't feel that if their real concern was drug use, particularly, in certain areas in the locality where there's major pots of use. If they felt that they didn't get enough of that information.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it is so empowering and educative around parenting skills and abilities. But then I suppose you'll get that feedback.
There are a lot of other agencies that provide things like drug counselling and information for parents that we couldn't do because we don't have that kind of training or anything. But as a youth project, this has been fairly positively received from the people that we've spoken to, and I've had contact from youth workers in the town asking what we can do with them to talk to the kids as well. So we're now looking at ways in which we can train people up to become educators for kids as well.